Hello YouTube, it's Jake Weezer Godzilla here once again, and since it is a new year, it's 2013, I'm going to do the story of Godzilla like I said last time. So, let's start this out there. Basically, Godzilla, as we all know, is a giant reptile. And, well, he started out in the 50s, 1954. Before he became what he was this dinosaur nobody knew about. He just lived under the sea. World War II went on, caused a bunch of radiation, and he was able to come out of the sea in a much bigger, more terrifying form. And in his first film, his debut, he destroyed all of Tokyo. He was a menace. The Japanese wanted to show us pretty much what they went through when the bomb was dropped. But the Americans didn't understand that. They completely changed the film up, and it was never as good as the Japanese one anyway. It had different actors such as Raymond Burr, different scenes, different descriptions of the monsters, or monster, I should say. But in the end, they killed him, and we saw him turn to a skeleton. However, the next year, Godzilla would come back. Huge comeback, actually. This time, with another monster known as Anguirus. Yes, Anguirus. One of the famous Earth Defenders, as we call him. But Godzilla was an Earth Defender too. Just both of them years later. And they both destroyed Tokyo, or Osaka, I mean. And Godzilla did most of it. And then they fought. Godzilla killed him. That was the first monster fight we ever saw. Now next, well, Godzilla was buried for 7 years. Next, it was a huge fight between the two most legendary monsters ever. King Kong and Godzilla. Yes. The American monster, Japanese monster fight. And it was awesome. It was the fight of the century. Godzilla, King Kong fought valiantly. Godzilla destroyed him in the first fight. Not literally. And he beat the heck out of him for half the second. Then Kong got struck by lightning. It was a fair fight. Kong started to beat up on Godzilla, as well as Godzilla still beating up on Kong. And in the end, it actually lets the viewer decide who wins. I choose Godzilla because Godzilla is my favorite monster of all time. Then they dealt more with Kong as opposed to Godzilla. Like, King Kong escapes. Yeah, and they were gonna use him for another one, but they started to change their minds, got Godzilla back into the swing of things, and it was called Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Basically, he fights a lobster, kills him early in the film, and there's a group there wanting to take over Birth Island and use it for their own experiments and stuff. He destroys that group, destroys their, place, all their stuff, equipment, kills them, kills Evera, the sea monster. Then in the next one, it's a new one. It's pretty exciting. It's called Godzilla, or Son of Godzilla. Like, there was a son of Kong, there needs to be a son of Godzilla. Of course, there needs to be a son of every big monster there is. Son of Frankenstein, son of King Kong, son of Godzilla. Okay? The son would actually make a bigger impact than most sons of monsters would. And he gets the crap kicked out of him at the very beginning. His egg gets broken open and he just gets beat up by the 3 Megalon monsters, which are giant prone mantises. Godzilla kills 2 of them, and the big alpha male Megalon escapes somehow. But he doesn't care about his son at first, but then he comes back, picks him up, and leaves with his son in town. And he starts teaching his son how to fight. And, well, it works after a while, after a little abuse. And, the final fight is Godzilla has to save his son from the giant spider known as Kumonga. Kumonga kills the alpha male knackers, and he's gonna kill his son, but Godzilla ends up killing Kumonga. And then, it leads us into the 70s, which would be Godzilla's Revenge, also known as All Monsters Attack. I've always called it All Monsters Attack. Most call it Godzilla's Revenge, but basically, it's a stupid movie. It's recycled footage from all that, and I just realized I skipped Destroy All Monsters. Oh well, I'll get to that next, because I've never seen Destroy All Monsters. But anyways, his son's getting bullied, and it's all a dream. He defeats Gabriel, the bully, and there's a kid who's dreaming. He gets attacked. His dream parallels to real life because the kidnappers take him, and he fights against the kidnappers. Then shows off against the bullies. Coincidentally, the main bully is named Gabriel, so he beats him up and become friends. What the moral of that was, I don't know. Anyways, let's go to Destroy All Monsters. And I forgot to... Okay, let's just start the Ghidorah thing from right here. It started with Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster, or Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. Later to be known as Ghidorah. Basically, it was Mothra, which Mothra had twin offspring, and Godzilla versus Mothra. One of them supposedly died. Mothra's mother was killed, and so there's only one offspring of Mothra left. And he straightened Godzilla and Rodan out, so they're not fighting. And then they all have to fight King Ghidorah, which they do, and they win, which leads us to Invasion of Astro Monster, where it's just Godzilla and Rodan. Mothra couldn't fit in this time. So they fight. King Ghidorah eventually retreats. It's nothing real spectacular. And now, Godzilla versus Ghidorah. Yeah. Ghidorah. It's a giant pile of crap. Not the movie, Ghidorah. And then, well, Godzilla has to fight the giant toad, and he just kills everything in sight. Ghidorah does, with gas, garbage. It's just pretty disgusting. It's probably the most disgusting Godzilla movie, or any other monster movie I've ever seen. And Godzilla has to fight him in the end. He, throws garbage and shoots lasers out of his eye. Godzilla flies. It's pretty weird. It's like on drugs, because there's all this cartoon stuff, there's all this LSD stuff. And, Godzilla kills the Ghidorah man and destroys these 2 things that he grabbed up. Eggs. There's eggs. Which is really weird, because all that would hatch from those eggs is garbage. But, yeah, he destroys them. That leads us into Godzilla vs. Gigan, the return of Ghidorah. So, a new, very intense monster. The completely sawed Gigan. Yeah. Gigan has saws all over his bust on his chest. He uses claws for hands, feet, mouth, head. And Godzilla teams up with Anguirus' original foe to fight Gigan and King Ghidorah. And it's a tag team monster match. It's awesome. And, well, basically, they fight. And with a bunch of teamwork, Godzilla and Anguirus win. Triumphantly, actually. And they're like, yeah, they'll probably be back. Which they were. Even in the next movie, they were. Well, Gigan. Basically, in the next movie, Godzilla vs. Megalon, there is another tag team match in that. Except it's Jet Jaguar. And the people underground are getting mad because of the bombs that the surface people are producing. And they send up Megalon to kill the surface people. It's, I wouldn't say cool in the least bit, but well, Godzilla is sent, or well, not really sent, he comes, along with Jet Jaguar. And they fight. Here's another one I haven't seen, Godzilla vs. Megalon. And, well, Gigan dies, and so does Megalon. Godzilla does an awesome drop kick in that, I know that. And, I think that would lead us right into Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Yep, sadly, we're going into the final two Godzilla movies. There's a new monster, King Caesar. They have to wake him up with a song. And let's see. It's a long song. Mechagodzilla destroys him, obliterates him. Godzilla comes. Godzilla gets obliterated. Bloody battle too. Finally, they both fight. They're both back to power. Godzilla rips Mechagodzilla's head off, and Mechagodzilla dies. Okay, so that would lead us into the next one. King Caesar goes back to sleeping. They're not going to wake him up again. This time, Mechagodzilla has a man on his side. Titanosaurus. A dinosaur, actually. Yes, a legitimate dinosaur. And, Godzilla's sent out to fight them. He gets obliterated, blown up, his insides are blown up, gets buried, but then comes back, conveniently, destroys them both, and then he rips Mechagodzilla's head off again. Mechagodzilla's still alive. The controller of Mechagodzilla shoots herself, so Mechagodzilla is not powered anymore, and Godzilla kills him. So that was the whole original series. Yeah. Let's get on to Godzilla 1985. A new Godzilla appears. It's almost a remake of the original, but not quite. It's more of a direct sequel. Godzilla is solo, again. Bigger, badder, more evil. He destroys. He has more power. He's no longer that fun-loving Earth defender. He kills a lot. And, well, that's all that happens. And that leads us into Godzilla versus Biollante. Biollante is a new monster revealed in the Heisei series. And huge. Fat, huge, has lots of tentacles, spits acid, formed from Godzilla plus plant. And, well, Godzilla, she has a huge crocodile mouth. She tries to, devour Godzilla. Doesn't work. Godzilla sprays fire inside of her mouth. Kills her just like he does every other monster. Well, that was that. Next was, let's see, Mothra versus Godzilla the second. And, well, Mothra has a new enemy called Batra, who starts out like a caterpillar, a larva, just like Mothra does. And basically, Mothra and Batra are anti each other. And they fight, and then Godzilla comes into the picture, and they realize they have to team up. Now, Batra gets killed by Godzilla, and Mothra drops them both in together, flies off into space with the Godzilla cells. And now, we go to the revival of Godzilla's greatest enemy, King Ghidorah. Yes, they alter the timeline. So, they pretty much skip all the movies by doing that. Somehow, I don't know. And I don't even want to think about that, because it's too hard to think about. And Godzilla has to fight King Ghidorah, who's bigger, more destructive. And how he does this, it's pretty obvious. He's the king of the monsters. He blows off Ghidorah's metal head, blows a hole through his wing, and basically drops him into the ocean. But they rebuild Mecha King Ghidorah to fight Godzilla, because Godzilla's the enemy now. It's reversed. And Godzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah fight off. And, well, Godzilla doesn't really win. Well, I mean, he does, but neither does Ghidorah. But Godzilla comes back to life, so it's all good. And now, that leads us to the revival of yet another one, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. And he fights the man-made Mechagodzilla, Super Mechagodzilla, as he later becomes. And how he does this? Once again, king of the monsters. Nothing can stop him. The army couldn't stop him, even though they keep trying. He blows him up. They finally make a robot version of Godzilla. He defeats it. And he also fights Rodan and finds a new son. Yes, the Heisei Son, as I call him. And basically, the son doesn't talk in this one like he did in Godzilla's Revenge, where all monsters attack. Be back with part 2.